The French Revolution plunged Europe into chaos. Monarchies feared its ideas. France faced invasion, rebellion, and near collapse. From this disorder emerged an unknown Corsican artillery officer whose ambition and ability would change history. This is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte's rise to power. The Siege of Toulon, 1793 and 1793, the French Republic was fighting for survival. The port city of Toulon revolted and invited the British Navy into its harbor. Losing Toulon meant losing control of the Mediterranean. Napoleon Bonaparte, only 24 years old, was appointed artillery commander. He reorganized the guns, trained infantry as gunners, and constructed new batteries. Napoleon identified the key position overlooking the harbor. Once captured, French artillery could force the British fleet to withdraw. After brutal fighting, the plan succeeded. The Allies evacuated Toulon. Napoleon was wounded, but promoted to brigadier general. His reputation was established. From obscurity to command after Toulon, Napoleon's career fluctuated. He was briefly imprisoned during political purges, unemployed for months, and narrowly avoided obscurity. Everything changed in 1795, when a royalist uprising threatened the government in Paris. Napoleon defended the government using artillery against the mob. The uprising collapsed. Napoleon became known as the savior of the revolution. In early 1796, the Directory appointed him commander of the Army of Italy. The Army of Italy was starving, unpaid, and poorly equipped. Many soldiers lacked shoes or weapons. Napoleon enforced discipline, reorganized supply lines, and promised victory and reward. He studied the terrain and enemy positions carefully. His goal was simple: prevent Austrian and Piedmontese armies from uniting. The Italian campaign begins. 1796. Napoleon struck first at Montenat, separating enemy forces. In rapid succession, he defeated Piedmontese armies at Millesimo, Mondovi, and Cherasco. Within weeks, Piedmont sued for peace. Napoleon turned east toward Austria. The crossing of the Po and Lodi. Napoleon deceived Austrian commanders with false crossings, then rapidly crossed the Po River at Piacenza. At Lodi, Austrian forces attempted to block him. After an intense artillery duel, Napoleon ordered an infantry charge across the bridge under heavy fire. The Austrians withdrew. Though militarily limited, Lodi cemented Napoleon's authority over his army. The soldiers began calling him the Little Corporal. Mantua, the key to Italy. Napoleon entered Milan and began reorganizing northern Italy. But one obstacle remained: Mantua, a massive Austrian fortress surrounded by marshes. Napoleon laid siege, knowing Austria would attempt relief. Austrian counterattacks. Field Marshal Wurmser launched multiple attempts to break the siege. Napoleon repeatedly abandoned the siege, concentrated his forces, defeated Austrian columns individually, then returned to Mantua. Victories at Castiglione and Bassano demonstrated his flexibility and speed. Even when surprised, Napoleon recovered faster than his enemies. Revolts and repression. Napoleon ruled Italy with efficiency and brutality. Peasant revolts were crushed. Villages were burned. Hostages were taken. Italy financed the French war effort. Napoleon acted independently of Paris, negotiating treaties and reorganizing states without approval. Arc Zeroli, a desperate gamble. In late 1796, Austria sent another army under General Alvinci. Napoleon was outnumbered and suffered his first battlefield defeat. He responded with a daring maneuver, crossing marshlands to strike the Austrian flank at Arcole. The fighting lasted 3 days. Napoleon personally attempted to lead troops across the bridge and was nearly killed. Eventually, Austrian forces withdrew. The result: by the end of 1796, Austrian armies were exhausted. Mantua remained under siege, its garrison starving and diseased. Napoleon had defeated multiple Austrian armies, reshaped Italy, and proven himself Europe's most dangerous general. Conclusion: Napoleon Bonaparte began as an obscure artillery officer. Through speed, intelligence, and ruthless determination, he rose to command armies and shape nations. Italy was only the beginning. Soon, Napoleon would turn his ambition toward power itself. This was the first step on the path to empire.